Well, hello there, all second year students in Section A, and welcome to the last official podcast of the 2018 year. So we will be covering the weeks of May 7th and May 14th. Hold on to your hats, because here we go. It is, as I say, the end of the semester, so you need to give it one last big push. You're going to make it. But you got to keep pressing on right to the end. I know at this point in the semester, you can start to feel like this guy here, like you're pushing and pushing and pushing and not getting anywhere. But here I come to save the day with my podcast so you don't feel like this guy getting totally bowled over and getting your butt kicked by the end of the semester. So if you have not already done so, go and grab your agenda or your calendar or your phone or your list of assignments on a piece of paper. However it is that you are keeping track of everything, and let's look at what we've got for the last 2 weeks. So, first of all, we are looking at the week of May 7th, and the first thing that I will draw to your attention is that in language and literacy, you will be having a quiz that week. That is going to be the last quiz that will make up those 20 marks in the language and literacy class. So pay attention leading up to that. On Tuesday the 8th, in Movement and Music, you will be having some special guests. So exciting. So it will be the lab children, but also a mystery guest who I'm not promising, but I'm thinking might be playing the tuba. And so if he does come with his tuba, that will be very exciting. So special guests in Movement and Music. Then on May 9th, Wednesday, May 9th, in your creativity course, your logbook is due, and that is worth 20% of your final grade. Right, Kathy?
Right.
Yes, 20%. All right, Kathy reminds you to review very carefully the assignment instructions and make sure that you have covered all of the topics in that logbook to make sure you get 20 out of 20. And then just a reminder that on the 10th and the 11th, those will be, unless you have makeup days, your last 2 days in Practicum 2. So please enjoy that. Take advantage of those final days. Get all the hugs and kisses that you want. Prepare your speech in case they give you a present, and prepare your face in case they don't give you a present. You have to be ready for anything in the last days of Practicum 2. So that brings us to the end of that week, and now let's look at the week of May 14th, the last week of classes. A big day on Monday the 14th. In your infant toddler class, you will be having your final test worth 10% of your final grade. Potential topics on the test include guidance and parent-educator communication, 2 very important topics. So you will want to prepare for that final test by reviewing your notes and readings on those 2 topics. Starting on Monday the 14th in language and literacy, the first half of the group, you will be presenting your language material. And Kathy will post the list, or at the very least communicate to you who will be presenting on the 14th. And remember that for that assignment you are to make something that will facilitate language development for children, and there is a write-up portion as well. That is worth 20% of your grade. And so Kathy made it very clear to me that she does not want to see a cardboard cutout of a frog stapled to a dirty sock. You got to put in more work than that. So that starts on Monday the 14th. And then on Tuesday the 15th, that's the last day here for classes for you. On the 15th, you will have a quiz in movement and music worth 10% of your final grade. And then that afternoon, the rest of the group will be presenting their language material. So still, no socks, no frog stapled. All right, so you are almost there. You can see the finish line. We are in the home stretch, people. So breathe through the nose and remain calm. As always, you can post your comments about this podcast or any of the podcasts on YouTube. You can get a full transcript by clicking on transcript underneath the video, And stay tuned. I said this was the last official podcast, but if a new announcement lands in your inbox, check it out, because I have some fun plans for a final end of semester podcast coming your way after classes end. That's it for me. Have a great week, everybody. Thanks. Bye.